visiting Japan and wanting to know what to pack, then stick around. I'm going to go through my 8 things that were essential for us in Japan. I'm going to also talk about what we didn't bring with us because it was just cheaper to get out there, and also what can save you some space. If you're visiting multiple cities, then I'll give you some tips on how you can best use a suitcase as well whilst travelling. And I'm not going to cover particularly what clothes to pack because it's going to vary differently depending on what time of year you're visiting. So let's jump in. So the first thing that I would recommend packing is a hand towel. Now, this might sound like a strange one, but in Japan what you will find is there is not any facilities to dry your hands or soap in the majority of bathrooms. On trains, in train stations, in a lot of Starbucks, other places like that, you won't generally find a hand dryer or towels or even soap. So it's expected that you have your own way of doing that. Even in museums and parks, there'll just be toilets with sinks. So I recommend bringing some hand sanitizer or like a miniature soap bar and then something to dry your hands on. In the summer months, it's not too bad because your hands do dry quite quickly, but yeah, definitely recommend having your own way to dry your hands. The second thing is cash. Cash is still king. And what you'll find is that even though a lot of places in Japan do take card, if you go out of the city and to some of the more suburban places or even up in the mountains, a lot of restaurants or family-run businesses will only take cash. We actually went for somewhere for lunch in Tokyo and it was a cash-only place, so I had to run round to the nearest 7-Eleven and get some from the ATM. So I did get some cash before we went out there. And then that way it meant when we landed, we were able to just quickly get on and do what we needed to do. Also, depending on how you're flying in and where you're going, you may need cash to be able to use some of the coin lockers. So there are ATMs available everywhere, every train station, and we found that the UK cards that I have, like Monzo and Chase, were fine out of cash machines. And also for me, I found that Monzo and Chase were the best cards in terms of there was very minimal fees. I don't think they actually charged any fees apart from what the base rate, what the transfer rate was at that time. If you do want to find out a bit more about going up into the mountains in Japan, then I've got a video about Koyasan, which is where Shinto Buddhism started, and you can watch that there. Or we went to Takayama as well, which is an Edo period village in the Japanese Alps, and that's there. The third thing I'd recommend packing, if it's relevant to you, is your JR Pass. Now, I cover the JR Pass in a separate video here, and it may not be that it's going to be the best option for you. It totally depends on your itinerary. When we went, we did stop at 5 or 6 different places across 15 days. So when we used the calculator on the JR Pass website, it worked out cheaper for us. And if you want to use the JR Pass, you have to book it before you fly to Japan. So it will be posted out to you. This is the physical voucher here. And then you need to bring this voucher and you exchange it for your JR ticket. You also get with you a little guide. So have these with you if you are bringing them and put them in your hand luggage, because our suitcases didn't arrive in Japan until 2 days after we did. So it's lucky we managed to pick up our JR Pass when we landed because it was in our hand luggage. Number 4, a plastic bag. And you may get this anyway just from shopping at 7-Elevens or convenience stores, but in Japan it's the culture to not leave rubbish in public. So what that means is that you don't actually find there's any public bins available, either in the streets, outside of shops, anywhere where you normally expect to find a bin. Maybe you just won't in Japan. And it's the culture for you to take your rubbish away with you. Even in some shops, if you ask them to dispose of your rubbish, they might say no. The exception to this is if you go and get like a Starbucks, then there is a hole that fits a Starbucks cup in the Starbucks shop that you can just put that cup in, but they're not going to start taking other rubbish from you. And also if you use the vending machines, there's so many of them all over Japan, you'll find that there is a bin next to the vending machine, again, which just fits the size of the bottles that are being sold. So you are going to struggle to find somewhere to leave your rubbish. So bring a plastic bag. We found it super helpful every day. We just put our rubbish in it, took it back to the hotel, put it in the bin. Number 5, where is it? Is the day bag. I call it a day bag. I don't know what it's called, but it's a very convenient, it's a bum bag, isn't it? So, but I wear it around my shoulder because I'm hip. Okay, so this was really helpful. Firstly, because you can put your money in it. And Japan is a safe city. The amount of crime is very low compared to the amount of people in the country. But it's just useful to know you have everything in one place, for me anyway. It's good for cash. It was good for having JR Pass in as well, because once you lose the JR Pass, it's gone. So you could have spent an entire 2 weeks train ticket and lost it. So having it in one place again, rather than left or right pocket. Also, we went in the summer, and I found that this was really useful in terms of having water bottle that just fitted in here as well, which is perfect. And also, if you needed to have maybe like an over-shoulder bag for other things, that could fold up in here and was nice and out of the way. So I found this was super helpful and useful to have. Every single day we brought it out with us. Okay, so then number 6. Number 6, gifts. Now, I watched some YouTube videos before we went away to Japan, and this was something that came up which was really interesting, and I wanted to try it. And it was recommended that you can tip in Japan, but a lot of the time it's not expected. But gifts are really customary if you have had exceptional service. So, as I'm from Manchester in UK, you can probably make a guess about what kind of gifts we bought. It was either Manchester United keyrings or Manchester City lanyards. And also there is the symbol of Manchester is the working bee. So we did buy some pin badges, and we didn't get to give these out as much as I was hoping. Part of the issue was actually having them with us, like having to bring them out every day. So just in case you came across that good service, you were able to give it to somebody. But we did give some gifts to people who helped us make some ornaments at the Hidafuku village and also at the Robot Cafe in Tokyo, because we just felt like they really looked after us and made us feel special. And it was lovely to see that actually something like this that you might not think much of here meant so much to the people that you gave it to. Number 7, in Japan, you'll find that pretty much every museum, every train station, every tourist attraction has got a stamp that you can use to collect stamps of that place. And you can bring your own book over with you, or which we did, or you can buy books out there. At the temples, some of the books that you can buy, like this one, are sacred, and so these are only meant to have inscriptions that are done from the monks at the temples. And so if you put stamps in these books, like this is the inscription from the temple, but if you put a stamp in here from one of the museums or tourist attractions, they then will stop putting your inscriptions in. So it's again one of those things where eventually we just stopped bringing both books out with us. We just brought the one for the temples, but you can, and if you've got kids, it's a great thing to do, to have them collecting the stamps at all the different tourist spots. Next on the list, and this is an essential item, I think everyone will pack one of these, an adapter. So in Japan, they actually use US sockets. So if you're in the US, you don't need to probably pack any. Anyone else around the world, it's a US socket. I actually bit the bullet and I've gone with a round the world socket, just because I'm planning on doing quite a few trips in the year coming up. And so yeah, I recommend the T-SAN because it has got US, UK, Australia, EU, pretty much all the world, and it's got, as well as like USB-C, it's got actually USB as well, so you can charge like 2 or 3 things at once, and you can do fast charging, obviously dependent on voltage. So yeah, definitely recommend that adapter. And then the final thing is number 9, the coin purse. The reason why this is recommended is you'll get quite a lot of coins in Japan, just because everything is in the thousands just for basic items. So you're going to get a lot of 500 coins, 200 coins, etc. So having this little coin bag really helps, especially if you want to use things like vending machines or the coin lockers. If you're finding this useful and you would like to have more travel in your life, then please hit the subscribe button below. I'm going to be publishing travel tips, unique experiences, hotel reviews and itineraries on this channel, and there's a new travel video every Monday. A couple of things do not pack. So the first thing is shampoo, because it's all provided at every hotel you go to. And this was something we found whether we stayed in a ryokan, which is like a Japanese inn, traditional style, even to the like Sudoku, which is like a monk's accommodation. We actually found that everywhere provided you shampoo and conditioner. And also with this is pajamas. Again, they're provided in all hotels, something you can wear so you can go to sleep in. So it was just things that you wouldn't need to pack in a suitcase because they're already going to be provided for you in the accommodation. The final thing I would recommend not packing is an umbrella. Now, you can buy umbrellas out in Japan so cheap. Every 7-Eleven has got them on sale, and you can get the nice see-through umbrellas as well, so that way you can see what's going on. We actually brought a couple of these back with us. They managed to just about fit in our suitcase. I think they're about £3, so they're so cheap. However, though, be aware, in Japan, it's strange, there isn't much crime, and so things won't get stolen. I mean, there's been stories I've heard of people leaving watches on trains and phones, and it just doesn't get taken. But if you leave an umbrella, then it is likely to be taken. Apparently it's seen as public property. So you will find if you go into certain places, they'll have umbrella stands where you can lock the umbrella away with a key to make sure that you keep your umbrella safe. I've never seen that in my life before. So that's pretty cool. Another recommendation I've got about saving space is I wouldn't pack a full suitcase to Japan if you don't need to. There are so many shops out there, and you may think, oh, clothes may not be the right fit or size for me over there, but we found that a lot of the shops like Uniqlo were actually very Western in terms of their size, and yeah, also I found shops like Uniqlo were a lot cheaper out in Japan compared to in the UK. And also as a benefit of you being a tourist, you get 20% off the price, so you don't pay the VAT. A lot of the shops in Japan actually do that for you at the point of sale. So whereas in some countries you'll have to keep the receipt, go to the airport, claim the tax back, in Japan they actually allow you, if you have your passport with you and you're spending over a certain amount, they give you the 20% off at the till, which is amazing. It makes the shopping so much cheaper then and there, and there's no faff when you're trying to get home through the airport. So make sure you leave space in your suitcase to get some new clothes, other things. Some people might say you might buy a mug from Japan. One of the things that I didn't use, and I wish I had, and actually it was on my Christmas list last year, and I got it, packing cubes. And I'd heard about packing cubes for ages, and I just haven't used them. But basically, for people who don't know what they are little bags that you will pack your clothes into, and they've got a see-through section so you can see what's in there. And what this means is you can actually see what clothes you're going to be using, because it might be if you're going up in the mountains, you need certain clothes. If you're staying in a city, you want others. And what I found is that because we went to multiple cities throughout our 2-week trip, we were forever pulling everything out of the suitcase to look for one t-shirt that was like right at the bottom and rolled up inside something. So I do really wish we had these, and so my sister bought me these for Christmas, and I'll be using them on every trip now moving forward, because I love to have everything organised and tidied away. The one that I've got here is really good. It even comes with a little travel bag for the bags, so you can keep them tidy when you get home. I've got a link in the description below. I think it's less than a tenner. If you're travelling between different cities in Japan, then it's common for people to leave their suitcases in coin lockers. You'll find that these are everywhere in all of the train stations, and they're so cheap. I think it costs something like a couple of pounds for you to leave your suitcase there for anything up to 12 hours. So do use the coin lockers. They're so useful, especially if you want to, like we went from Osaka to Kyoto, and we did a day trip to Hiroshima and left our suitcases in Osaka and then came to pick them back up. And it was amazing. Like, you didn't have to pay for it to be looked after by a service. You could just do it all yourself. Very quick, easy. Final bonus tip, get a Wi-Fi dongle. Now, the reason I'm suggesting this is that there was 2 of us travelling out on our trip, and it was about £5 a day per person to be able to enable data. But using the Wi-Fi dongle, it was £5 per day for both of us to be able to connect to that dongle. And it was really good. We had about 10 gigabytes a day with it. We booked ours through the JR Pass website when we were booking. I think it was advertised as unlimited data, but there was a fair use policy. So it also meant that when we arrived into Tokyo and Haneda Airport, we just went straight to pick up the dongle immediately, and it was ready for us. And then we could get connected to the internet, go on Google Maps, find our way to get to the Shinkansen station, and it just made things a lot easier. And I have heard of like friends who have booked Wi-Fi dongles but then don't have a credit card. So another tip is, if you're going to do it, you have to have an active credit card when you arrive in the country. A lot of places won't let you rent one. Even if you've paid for it in advance and you don't have a credit card when you arrive, they'll decline giving you any. And I've had this issue in South Korea before, where I paid for a dongle, but because I didn't have a MasterCard or a Visa credit card, I wasn't allowed to take the dongle away. So make sure you have a valid credit card. that's my tips on what to pack for your next trip to Japan. I'm really interested to know what you cannot go on holiday without, so leave me a comment below and let me know what it is that you always have to bring with you. I'm interested to know. Thanks for watching. There'll be another travel video again next Monday, so as always, subscribe to be notified about that. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.